Hello everyone and welcome back to another game here at Line 82, benefiting Solid Strife and his children. We already collected $1,606, which is an amazing amount, and we're not done yet, of course, so with more to show you. Now we finally have back JosephJoestar316 for I think the last time for this event at least, with Medical Solid the Twin Snakes Extreme Any Percent. Take it away.
Alright, hello Lime City and chat. Hope you're all doing well again today. I am back once again with Twin Snakes. I'm running this on Dolphin Emulator. I'll be running the extreme difficulty, Game Over if Discovered, which are at least 2 of the minimum criteria needed to go for Big Boss, which again, I will be trying to go for Big Boss strats. I do have a lot of time as a buffer in case things don't go quite well. But if you're all ready to go, I'm ready to kick things off, and there's a question I might have for somebody as we count this down to 0, and I'm sure I might hear an answer, but which way is it to Shadow Moses exactly? I think we're going to hear the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think it's, what was it again? That's it. You guys thought I was done with that. Oh, no. I had to sneak that in there yet again. Alright, so we're going to start off with this exciting run with crawling underneath this pipe. Okay, then we're going to dodge a guard. Alright, we dodged him, and we're going to wait in this locker for 1.5 minutes for the elevator. Man, ain't that exciting? Well, anyway, so this is Twin Snakes in case you may not have played this game. It was out on GameCube in 2004. It is the, quote-unquote remake of Metal Gear Solid, despite all the rumors you've been hearing lately about, them remaking this game again. But anyway, so this locker was added here so you can just wait for the elevator in peace. Don't have to worry about dealing with the guards, farming alerts, that sort of thing. And also, depending on difficulty, you also have an M9 available to you early. Since we're on Extreme, we're not going to get any weapons quite yet. But I guess a little more background as far as my involvement in running this game. I've been running primarily this difficulty for quite some time. I tend to go for saving Meryl because, in my mind, that is the only ending in this game. Because, someone's got to save Meryl at the end of the day. Which, for those that have watched me grind this category down for myself, I've been trying to get this down to 1 hour, going for the Meryl ending. I know world record is 56:01 by Blue Metal on this simulator, going for the fastest ending with Otacon. Hopefully one day I can get there myself, but... Oh, look, there's the elevator. All right, so you might be thinking, wait a minute, there's a guy in that elevator. Isn't that going to be a problem? Well, let me show you. Oh, wow, that was difficult. Yeah, they're interesting. The guards, I mean. And also, it wouldn't be a marathon event without dressing to the occasion, so we are going to be playing as Tuxedo Snake. Which doesn't really quite change how the game is played at all. You just look very fancy. Might be some outfits that change on some other characters. But after all, we just want to look presentable while running for a good cause. So, we are starting with the helipad. Now, normally this would be difficult without weapons, but what we're going to do is walk off to the side. We're going to jabate a guard from moving over, lean up against this railing so the spotlight won't catch us. And that Snake's going to just stare at that camera. Alright, so the first thing we're going to get is these stun grenades. We're not going to exactly use them quite yet. While we're going to wake up this guard, and then he's going to say, huh, who's there? Alright, so we're going to avoid the camera, and it's going to look like I'm just spamming equip, unequip on these stuns for no reason at all, but in actuality, this is important that you do this whenever you're in a crawling section, such as these vents or any kind of crevice crawl space, because every time you equip, unequip, it skips part of the crawling animation, which allows you to go through these vents faster. Which is especially important in this tank hangar because you are trying to get ahead the guard patrol pattern within the hangar itself. And we're going to be doing this quite a bit here, events in the B1 floor, and like I said, any other section that involves some sort of crawling. Okay, we're just admiring the site and following these 3 field mice. I think one of them is going to bring us good luck. I don't know which one it might be. Alright, so we're finally in the hangar. So we're going to wait up against this tank. This guard is going to be stopping right about there. Turns. We're going to hug the tank. Then we're just going to roll into him. And then we're going to call the elevator. And then we're going to go down a floor. Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky with these elevators where if you press the call button twice, the elevator will show up, which is what we refer to as a fast elevator. It just saves you like a couple seconds of just having to wait, but it's completely RNG, which given the amount of elevators we have, it'd be very nice to get a lot of them, but there's some days I'm lucky just to get even one fast elevator at all. And so here we are, we're crawling yet again into these vents. As you may have seen in the MGS1 easy any percent race between D-Limes and Platonic, they both bypass this section, I believe, by using the vent glitch when you get to this point. However, you cannot do that yet in this game unless somebody finds a way to do it. So this is effectively an all bosses run by default, technically speaking. Okay, so we got our very first weapon, which is the M9, like I said. Now, this being on Extreme, we don't have nearly as much ammo as we would in MGS2. Since Twin Snakes is effectively combining MGS2 and MGS1 together, and you get Twin Snakes. Except we're only going to be having up to 16 rounds, which might seem like is not enough, but in actuality is just barely enough to get through sections as you need. And we'll be reacquiring ammo as we go. Man, what happened to him? Man, he sounded like he had a rough day.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to be starting the cell guard rush. Now, because we're going for big boss strats, we're not going to try to kill anybody. Our so-called rookie here, we don't know who it is yet. They're going to be doing some of the killing for us. Since it is faster to kill them than to trank them, but since we're trying to go for big boss rank, we're not going to kill any ourselves.
What are you waiting for? Shoot!
Don't talk to me like a rookie.
I'm telling you.
Okay,
shoot.
there she goes. Alright, so now our rookie friend is now actually using the weapon. And we had good luck, so she killed the guard off the start. Sometimes she'll just injure them and not kill them. While the rest of the remaining guards, we're just going to trank them in this hallway as early as we can. Just by aiming at this corner. Okay, there we go. So after those 6 go down, there's going to be another lone guard that comes in, trying to throw grenades. Except we're going to put a stop to that. While we trank the remaining 2 that rush in soon after. So that's 1, 2. Now, we're just going to be spending all of our remaining rounds of both weapons. And you might be saying to yourself, well, what for? I mean, don't you need those? Well, we do and we don't. Because in actuality, what we're doing is not only getting through this section, but we're also trying to prepare for a infamous boss fight that I'm sure every runner that's played this game knows and hates so much as I do, which is the tank fight. So what we're doing is we're farming magazine clips, which we're going to be needing for that fight coming up just a little while. But in the meantime, we're going to be making our way down to the second basement level of the hangar building, stopping into the armory. Alright, so not much different here. We're going to be needing some C4 to get through some fake walls. Whoops, this one. Alright, so the funny thing about the C4 is you can just plant them offset. They don't have to be directly over the wall partition that's been filled in. You know, and it's just wide enough to blow it up without blowing you up with it. Okay, so we're going to do it again here. Stand right about at their corner as we make our way into the Armory South. Okay, so we're gonna blow up that one. And then one more. Now, brace yourselves. This is gonna be a rough fight, so if you blink, you might miss it. Alright, so get ready. We're just gonna stay still, aim at Ocelot's head, dodge a shot, aim at his head again, and that's the Ocelot fight. You know, in the original game, you would either have to chase him around with the SOCOM, looping him in a certain way with your movement, grenade strat, which is very difficult but effective, but in Twin Snakes, they said, hey, you know, what happens if you just aim in first person and don't even move? Well, that kind of is what breaks the fight, basically. You just stay still, aim at his head, dodge a shot or two. So now that that's over, we're going to be calling our mystery friend from B1. Not sure who it quite is yet. Oh, it's Meryl! Man, who would have thought? So the beauty of Twin Snakes is you can call Meryl while in this room, since normally you wouldn't be able to because it's jammed. But the devs decided, hey, we'll just cut you a break and just call her right after the fight's over. So, we're now going to be making our way to the canyon to face the tank. As we avoid both of these guards. And I'm going to be doing a very dangerous laser roll, so I'm just going to focus for that part once we get up here. And then I'll kind of explain it as best I can soon after. Alright, so first thing is we're going to answer the codec as soon as we can. Skip the cutscene of the door opening. Okay, there we go. So what I did is I timed my, you know, movement getting out of the elevator with the door opening, and then at a specific point on the floor, I just rolled the first two, or I'm sorry, rolled past the first two lasers, which is a method I saw from Wall Guy when comparing the different types of, you know, ways of getting through the laser door. But I really liked his approach and just kind of played it safe on the last sensor by not trying to, like, roll through it, even though you could. Oh, wait, I just threw a stun, didn't I? And I just blew up the claymore that I probably needed, but it's okay. These things happen. I was trying to fake out the gunner by faking myself out. Oh, dear. Okay, this ain't going well at all, but we're gonna try our best to recover it. Okay, so part of the reason why we needed the magazines was not only for situations like this, but we're trying to throw them in the hatch, as you just saw right there. Any stun grenade that lands directly in the hatch while you see that cutscene zoom in is going to do full damage. It takes 3 full contacts of the stun to take out the gunner, and okay, I don't know where that stun went. Yeah, and then what I was also trying to do is take out the treads by slowing this down a lot, so it won't be doing this. So I'm just going to try my best to get him to stop while getting these stun grenades to go in, which, oh, that one was really lucky. Okay, so I'm just going to try to move around him. Okay, I was actually wondering if that was going to do anything. Alright, so we're going to try using a magazine, and that didn't make it in. So we're going to try this again with the stun. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to trank the last set of damage here once this tank actually stops moving. Alright, so with the second gunner on the way, we're just going to throw it in the hatch. He'll say, see how you like this?
See how you like this?
Okay, so while that stun goes off, we're going to try to get the rest of these with the magazine clips that we farmed earlier, along with the M9. Because again, it doesn't have to be a stun. It could be any object that goes in, such as a magazine. I even have chaffs in case things get really bad. Alright, come on. Okay, so good thing I picked up those shafts, because we're probably going to need them. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very slow end to this fight. Which is probably going to look like that right now. Alright, try again. One more time. Oh, almost! Okay. Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky with the shafts. It is a very, like, last-ditch effort to get something to go in, other than forming another magazine from your SOCOM, which I'm going to opt out of that since I'm going to need that for the next fight. So I guess, House, if you have anything to chime in with while I end this fight, now's a good time, because this is going to take a little bit.
Yeah, as always, God, I wasn't ready for that. As always, Limeade 2.0 is, of course, benefiting Solid Strife, a community member of our beloved Medical Speedrunners community. He's going through a divorce and, of course, also has other problems, like living very far away from his family. So, in order to support him, we're collecting money this weekend, which will not only go to him, but also to his 2 children. And, of course, with all the people that already chimed in, thank you so much.
I was just about to say, one of the magazines I threw just slipped in the hatch right there, which was really lucky. Yeah, I kind of wish it happened earlier, but hey, it is what it is.
Exactly.
So we're in the nuclear building, and what you just saw me do there with the chaff is kind of clip through the door while being crouched and then crawling and trying to move away. Doing so allows you to not only clip through the door, but it skips a mandatory codec that you are normally given when you first enter in here, where the colonel's like, hey, there's nukes in there, you can't use your weapon. You know, so it just saves us the effort of having to listen to that while just being quick and just evading all the guards in the camera while we're at it. Alright, so we're going to be needing this Nikita right here, along with these extra set of stuns, while setting up for the next boss fight, which is against a certain someone that we might remember. I mean, we're going to be getting a codec from them just in a little bit. You know, basically what they're trying to tell us is, it's like, hey, Snake, you can't go through there. The floor is electrified. And Snake's like, who is this? It's like, one of your fans. I don't know about you, House, but, I mean, Snake's got a lot of fans out there, and it's hard to distinguish which one it might be.
For sure. Sometimes you think he can't live up to the legend that he is already, but then he comes back a second time to Shadow Moses and still does it better.
Right on. So we just blew up the power box, which will now take out that panel right there. Floor is no longer electrified. We can cross through. And we can move on to the next boss fight. Okay, once we're out of that cutscene, we're just gonna roll right to the door to start the fight against, that's right, Gray Fox the Ninja. Except he's gonna look a little bit different, because we're on, you know, tuxedo mode, if you will. Yeah, so that is the ninja's like alternate color scheme instead of the like gray-orange that you might recall. It's more of a like gray-red, which people have often joked whenever I run this, saying, "Oh, look, it's Spider Fox."
I was thinking more of Vision from the Marvel universe.
Hey, that works too.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a punch kick while equipping the Nikita on the kick, while deflecting one of my shots intentionally while, you know, double punching soon after. And what we're doing is we're trying to loop him so that every time you deal damage one time and then you deflect the second time around, it kind of resets him. And as long as you don't, you know, do like 2 sets of like punches in succession, it will never trigger this phase too early. And then we're just gonna run up to him and then just say, okay, you're done.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's a really useful tactic to get to know that Nikita. Not only just the Nikita kick, because what's happening is when you equip the Nikita, it does more of a damage value on the kick than it's supposed to. So not only are you dealing more damage faster, but the fact that you could basically loop his first phase, I mean, basically almost forever until you run out of ammo. But very nicely done. This way you don't have to deal with the hide and seek and the last phase of him just begging you to hit him. As cool as it is sometimes, but we're trying to be fast. And of course, it's funny right as I say that because the next thing I'm about to do isn't exactly that. It's something that I probably only do over what other runs do, and that's getting a complimentary 1-up. For reasons, well, just for the hell of it.
It is, after all, a Nintendo game, you could say.
Yeah, so I guess it's like a nice little complimentary shout out to Nintendo for publishing this game.
I never knew that's in there, so it's always fun to learn new things.
Yeah, and I think, fun fact, the Yoshi thing that's next to the Mario statue is supposedly you regain HP if you shoot the Yoshi one repeatedly. The 1-up one is just there. I don't know, I like to think it gives me good luck or spares me a continue if I screw up. Kind of like getting a 1-up. But it does not.
I have the same thing in the self-fight. I always grab the ration out of the bed. I don't need it, but I always pick it up. Lucky charm.
Exactly. So we're trying to get Meryl's attention while leaning up against the door to the women's bathroom. Leaning in is just faster than trying to lean up against the door. And also, Meryl's got a different outfit. Hey, wait a minute. Is that our sneaking suit? Oh, no wonder why Snake with the tux today. He was in such a hurry to get here, and then Meryl's like, oh, okay, I'll just wear the sneaking suit.
I love this. I've never seen this. This is fantastic.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 2 steps forward, roll into Meryl. It's not just for the fun of it. We're actually trying to end this part of the room sequence faster. Damaging her doesn't really, I guess, matter as much, but you're just trying to get that camera sequence to minimize itself. And now we're actually gonna hit Meryl. Sorry, Meryl, it's all for a good cause. So now we're gonna start the Psycho Mantis fight, and since we're on the Beauty of Emulator, I already have my controller settings configured to ports 1 and 4, so I won't have to worry about, Mantis trying to read our mind. Okay, so we're gonna deal with Mantis and... Wait, what the... Where's the game?
Oh. Tech issues. Oh.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna trank him. Hit him with the Nikita before he goes invisible. Hit him with the Nikita again. Then we're gonna punch him once. Go back here, and then we're gonna aim at his left, shin. It could be anywhere on his leg, but we just aim, at the shin, hip thigh area. Since it does a lot of damage per shot with the M9. And the reason for the damage that I did at the very beginning is it'll get this phase skip, where Meryl will get up and then just collapse. Ah, blast it, my one weakness. Alright, not to worry, we're just gonna tiptoe over Meryl, wait for Mantis to get into our crosshairs, and then just shank him in the head. Alright, then we're gonna shoot him in the leg again. And for safety, I'm gonna grab this ammo, even though normally you would just follow this up with another shot. But for marathon safety, I'm just gonna play it safe and get that ammo before the fight's over, because that ammo box will not be there if you end the fight, so... not too bad of a fight, just a little bit of miss here and there. Alright, so we saved Meryl. We're now gonna be proceeding to the infamous caves. And if you thought the walls in the original game were bad, well, they kind of decided, you know what, we're just gonna make them even worse. With the ability to, tackle you from across the room. I mean, I'm not even kidding. So, this is why I grabbed the extra ammo, so just in case I need it, I can just kind of, calm them down, just discourage them from trying to tackle me.
At least in this game, you have tranquilizers. In my run previously, I definitely got shot for them.
Alright, so Meryl's gonna be doing this cutscene where it's like, "What's wrong, Snake? I thought you were good with dogs." Instead, we're gonna say, "You know what, Meryl? We're tired of hearing that." So we're just gonna shoot her twice with the SOCOM and then roll indoors so we could just get that cutscene. And trust me, Meryl's okay. You know, the shots didn't even really hit her, because look at her health bar right here. See? Good as new. So, unlike the original game with these mines, well, for one, you could skip that really long cutscene of her walking around saying, "Wow, look how smart I am." And instead of being able to just move up in the mine pattern, you just have to go around. But it's still just as, you know, cool looking, just saying, "Oh, you got your psychic powers, I could just move around and dodge it." Alright, so we're going to be making our way back to the Commander Room's office area. Because Meryl's been injured now, for real. I mean, not by me. Okay, just making that clear. Sniper Wolf was waiting on the other end of the underground passage and, you know, used Meryl as bait to kind of draw Snake out. Oh, see? That's what I was talking about. Okay, good doggo. Okay, I got spared that time, because there's moments where I turn that corner and it's blind to me because I'm not going into first person, and I could just get tackled off screen. And it is such an easy way to lose time just from little things like that. So, normally you'd be running back to the armory to get the PSG-1 sniper rifle. So in Twin Snakes, they decided, hey, if you don't want to make all that effort to go back, we're just gonna say, hey, we left a PSG-1T, which is the tranquilizer version, which is placed right here at this desk. Got our pentazamines, and we're just gonna be making our way back since now we have a weapon to fight back with. Okay, and then you notice that I'm like rolling down these stairs at times, or otherwise rolling up. It's just optimal movement while also trying to menu things, you know, in preparation for our fight. You know, such as these pentazamines, like I said. And then you're seeing that I'm like using the equip unequip strategy with these little cross spaces. Like I said, it just speeds up the crawling. Oh dear God, no. Oh nope, I spared the pupper. Okay, I have a rule that, you know, no harm comes to the little guy in that cave. He does nothing wrong to us. I mean, just look how adorable he is.
I was gonna say, come on.
Okay, now we go to the fight. So I don't think I equipped my sniper, which is... okay, not too big of a deal, but I'm probably gonna get shot. Okay, so we're just gonna go for every headshot as we can, and I'm getting fairly lucky with her placement so far. Okay, now this is the bad RNG where she just takes cover behind this pillar for, you know, an extended amount of time. Hey, not bad.
Very nice.
I got her.
Alright, so that ends this part, and I guess, House, if you'd like to chime in, because there's going to be some waiting involved, and a certain familiar character that's going to make an appearance, so, yeah, you can take it over for a bit.
Well, for sure. While we don't have any new donations, we can of course also give an exclusive preview of what's coming next, because after this run, we have also more runners coming in. For example, a game called Hellsinker. We have no idea what it is, run by Extruder X. Sounds very interesting. We also have Resident Evil 0 coming up, a half-baked snake, which we already saw yesterday with Bioshock, so looking forward to that one. After that, we also have another race coming up today, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. Miss Chelsea's versus Mockingjay. They're running the plant level without the tanker on very easy PC. And finally, for the big end, we have Sparty with Metal Gear Solid 4, the Boss Extreme new game on PlayStation 3, so that's gonna be definitely worth watching.
Had enough yet? Oh, we're not finished yet.
Yeah,
You can
there's
definitely
just
tell in those scenes. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say there's not really a whole lot going on here. We're just kind of getting tickled by the electric, you know, shocks that Ocelot's inducing on Snake.
Yeah. was gonna say, you can always tell that they definitely did a good job with the voice acting, especially Ocelot.
Yeah, I mean, if the Ocelot fight wasn't a giveaway of how good this was gonna be when he gets shot in the head, I mean, I don't know what else you need.
Absolutely.
Okay, so our next VIP cast is none other than our resident favorite guard, Johnny.
Wait, who's this? Didn't we see this one?
Let's see if he'll say hi to us. Oh, come on, Johnny. Come on, Johnny, it's marathon day.
Shut up in there, will ya?
Oh, he said it.
Set the thing.
Shut up in there, will ya?
Hey, Johnny.
Hey. Shut up in there.
No, he seems kind of annoyed today.
It's the same as with the original, where it's a little bit faster than instead having him sneeze.
Shut up in there, will ya?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing as the original. We're just trying to minimize the sneezes, maybe get Johnny to talk to us.
Shut up.
Usually just tells us to shut up in there, will ya?
Shut up in there, will ya? Hey. Shut up in there, will ya?
Hey!
Hey. 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 Shut
Wait,
up
we have
in
a
there, will
cellmate in here. Wait, doesn't that kind of look like the DARPA chief? Just a
ya?
more
Shut up in there, will ya?
decomposed looking
Shut up
DARPA
in there,
chief.
will ya? Shut up in there,
And
will
blood
ya?
drained.
Shut up
Oh
in
my
there,
god,
will
is
ya?
he a zombie?
He's not walking around yet.
Snake, it's showtime.
Oh,
There we
thank
go.
goodness. Because that somewhat dead-looking DARPA chief was kind of creeping me out, so I'm actually glad to get out of there. Need some fresh air. Oh, wait a minute. It was a trick. Yep, we're getting electrified on the table again.
Yeah.
How did you like that? Shall we go again?
Now, thankfully on this version of the game, they nerfed this torture sequence. It's always like 3 rounds of it. In the original game, I believe it would go up to like 6, where you'd have to like resist like 6 bursts of torture, which is kind of torture in and of itself.
No.
But in this game,
At
they
least-
just decide, you know what, we'll just give you a break.
Just this morning, actually, in an in-person event, I had the chance also to run the original, and of course the mirror ending, as it is, you know, common with marathons. And yeah, even on easy, it's always every time like, oh, I'm getting tired.
There, will ya?
And it's only 3 bursts on easy.
Hey. Shut up in there, will ya? Shut up.
And Johnny's got a bit of an attitude today. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Chad. Usually he's a little more upbeat, and you know, it's like, you know, we're running a marathon. You know, he's gonna, you know, engage with us, and you know, it's just, I don't know. Maybe he just kind of got up late. You know, having one of those kind of days.
Shut
Oh,
up
do you
in there,
really
will
feel
ya?
that way, Johnny? Oh, bless you.
I guess the medicine isn't working.
Damn it.
Yep, just like in the original. I still got stomach problems. As we wait for our buddy Otacon to hook us up with some escape items. So we're just gonna
That's
go for a
sweet,
jog
sweet
while we
ketchup.
wait.
Yeah. Doing the running, man. Love it.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here. Where?
Alright, so Otacon hooks us up with a ration, the ketchup, key cards, everything you possibly need to get out of here. So we're just gonna use that ketchup,
That's
equip the handkerchief, which we're gonna need later. And, you know, I hate to say this, but House, I think Snake's dead.
Oh no, do we need to reset? This is not in the schedule, man. We talked about this. You gotta play good enough if you say extreme.
Yeah, see, even Johnny fell for it.
Yeah, damn it.
Alright, so what we're gonna do here is stop by the store, we're gonna roll Johnny over, and then actually escape out of here without our item box. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're kind of tricking the game into thinking that we're still in the cell. And then we're going to go back and get our items because we still need those. But just to kind of demonstrate why this works.
That's better.
What the?
Okay, so we're just going to get rid of this time bomb. Don't need that. See, look, there's Johnny.
What the hell? What are you playing around with that?
Exactly. What the hell?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay, I guess he's still got an attitude.
Shut up in there, will you?
So right now
Must
the
be some
game
strong
thinks
medicine.
yeah, I mean right now
Sorry.
the game thinks oh that's okay. The game thinks I'm still in that cell right now, even though we're not soft lock, we can actually advance the game. But what it's doing is it's creating a condition where once I go back to the underground passage a second time, it's gonna bypass a cutscene and codec you would normally get. Alright, so yeah, go ahead, man.
I just want to say that medicine must be really strong if he just walks around and doesn't even notice that Snake's completely gone.
I don't know, man. I think he's hallucinating too.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're back in the canyon. There's gonna be guards and cameras posted here, so we're just gonna hug the left wall. Trink this guy. He's gonna say, huh? Trink this other guy. Scooch forward a little bit.
What's that?
And then the one I just tranked will pass out while picking up these grenades. As we make our way back into the nuclear warehouse building. And just like before, we're gonna be doing the nuke building door chaff skip. Okay, so we're just gonna lean up against the wall, crouch down, move away, and just spam equip, unequip.
Is there somebody there? Huh?
Yeah, it's like deja vu. It's like I was just here.
Huh? What's that?
Alright, so now we're out of here, and oh, another fast elevator. Thank you, game. I believe I've gotten 2 fast elevators in this floor alone, this run, which is actually quite remarkable. Okay, so now we're going to be heading into the next section, you know, which is... in Twin Snakes, it's going to be Disc 2, since, like I said, this was originally a GameCube game. It came with 2 mini-discs. In the original, your Disc 2 would be going into the blast furnace after the Sniper Wolf 2 fight. So it's just going to be coming up earlier than we're used to. But not to worry, because the emulator is going to take care of that.
It definitely feels like the halfway point of the game.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Alright, so the handkerchief just protects us from the dogs. They think we're friendly because it's got, you know, Sniper Wolf scent on it. While we pick up some PSG-1T ammo for the remaining section of the run. So normally when you come back in here and you step up to this line, you would get a cutscene and codec. Snake just kind of flash back into what happened. But since we escaped the cell in a really unorthodox way, the game doesn't really know we escaped yet. You know, but like I said, we still have the key card to advance. We're not soft locked. You know, you just save yourself like 20-25 seconds of having to wait. Oh, wait, I forgot to practice the change discs. Oh, wait, that's right. The emulator does automatically.
Wonderful.
Alright, so now we're going to be starting the everyone's favorite, the stair climb sequence. Now, in the original, you can bypass having to wait for that alert to happen by throwing a grenade when the door opens, so you do have to trip the lasers. But instead, we're going to cook a stun grenade, so it'll stun those 2 that show up. That way, we don't have to worry about getting shot in the back so early. Okay, so we're going to trink that guard right there while using the stuns for the 9th floor once we get to it. Okay, so we're going to start cooking it. So if I get lucky, they'll either be stunned, or in this case, they're just dazed, where they're just rubbing their eyes. Which is just as fine, you know, because we are going to get hit quite a bit. Which, as you can tell, the damage scaling from when you get hit is pretty generous. over the original, which is not as, you know, kind when you take damage. And as you also can tell, we're moving up the stairs quite fast regardless of what weapon we're holding or not holding. Whereas in the original, you want either like a chaff or, you know, some kind of weapon equipped to give you like the faster movement.
It can also be very tricky because usually in the original we can't even shoot really up. So we always need to quick throw them.
Yeah, so we don't even have to do that. So instead, we're just going to be using, again, the stun grenade to take out those two plus any others that are like trailing behind. And then that's the Tower Race stairs.
Well done.
Okay, so the rappel section. So kind of similar to the original, except there's going to be a little bit of an optimization towards the last part of it. And thankfully, it's not nearly as long. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom floor like the original game makes you do. Instead, they kind of shave off like a third of it, where you just have to reach a certain line in the girder section, and then it just ends it early. So we got the rope from the bottom floor, which you can do this in hanging mode, actually, except it's not nearly as fast, and, you know, you'd have to be really good with your grabs. So instead, we're just going to be going down one set of girders here. Okay, we'll skip that codec. And then what we're going to do is go to this bottom corner. We're going to go down left, down, down right. And then once we make contact, we're going to press circle here. And what I just did there was called the girder glitch. So for some reason, when Snake makes contact with those like diagonal girders, and then you kind of try to stop them against the wall, the game just says, hey, we're just going to teleport you down. And it just doesn't know where to place you.
Kind of jealous now.
Okay, I actually missed one. Oh, okay, so I did get him. It just didn't hit him in the head.
Yeah, it took a while to activate.
Yeah, I was gonna say that part of the game in the original is probably one that I hate the most, because you'd have to time a stun, or if you're on PC, you could just GME it to avoid them. So in this game, you could just use the PSG-1T to your advantage and just trach them early. So we're in Tower B now, and just like in the original, yep, bottom section of the stairs got blown out, except in this one, they go down to floor 6. I think in the original, it's down to floor 2.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's not nearly as long of a descent, just to find out that you can't go down. And now we're going to be making our way up yet another set of stairs. So, house, again, this is another good time for any messages or donations.
I would do so, Macaroni. We don't have anything new yet, which is no problem. Again, there's lots of time still being run, and also has already been run. I'm assuming, of course, many people already did donate, and for those, of course, and those that just watched, of course, as well, thank you so much for being here for Lightmate 2.0. Probably won't be the last time that we do this again, so look forward to what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys have absolutely crushed it with these donation goals. We're like 4 times past what the original was set for on day 1.
We started, I think, with 400 and smashed that in like 2 hours, it feels like. And then went every time over and over again. We learned also so much in terms of technology, because we are literally on 2 different continents. People from North America and also in the Europe here hosting together with remote desktops and everything. We have runners from all around the world, literally at the same time, even sometimes. And it's such a fantastic ride, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, same here. So one thing you may have noticed as I was going up those stairs is I was rolling at the like upper third of each set. It just makes it a little bit faster to get up here rather than just trying to move normally. So now it's the troublesome Hind D. Alright, so we're going to be using our Stinger missile launcher while trying to get as many hits as we can early. You know, while Liquid tries to taunt us by saying that we're not going to have any kind of chance beating him with the Stinger, but joke's on him. Because we are going to, in fact, beat him with the Stinger. He just doesn't know it yet. Hey, thanks, buddy. So he can be nice. Alright, so while he fires the first missile, we're gonna start prepping for phase 2 by getting another set of hits ourselves. Okay, here's the other one. Okay, now begins phase 2, which is probably the one that people hate the most. You know, because as you can tell on this difficulty, on Extreme, he moves really fast. On the other hand, when he goes down, it's not nearly for as long, but it's still pretty chaotic trying to like keep an eye on him, even with the Stinger like you know, interface with the target boxes. So we're trying to basically keep in track of where he's at, get a shot on him as soon as he lifts up, and then we use this like center, like, I don't know what you call this, like, I don't know, like container thing, air conditioning cage, I don't know what it is. So we're trying to use that as cover when he lifts up and over the opposite side, and we are going to get hit when he's on the other end, which is why we have the ration equipped, should we need it. The beauty of running for Big Boss in this game is you're allowed up to 1 ration usage, and you can still qualify for the rank, you know, which in my mind is meant for this fight, should it ever happen. But that's the Hind D fight. Uh-oh. Missile!
Where'd you go?
Oh, we're okay.
Hide. Chad is asking if Big Boss Rank's still alive.
It still is, for right now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we're unfortunately very, very far from PB pace. I do have my splits up, but, you know, we're still on Big Boss rank.
Let's see if we can get it here for TTS if we can't do it for Medical Soldier 3 this weekend.
Alright, so now that we're going down and we only have 1 chaff to our name, we're going to be using grenades now. Like in the original, you can time these a certain way and take out the turrets, so I'm actually going to try to see if I can get on the first set. Okay, I think I got it. Nice. So
That's
we're
also
just going to do
something we
this.
can do in the original. Oops, sorry.
Oh, no, I was about to say, yeah, this is pretty much the same concept as the original game. It's just I don't recall, like, the timing method of how and when you throw it. I want to say it's
Probably
pretty
the same.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to time it. Basically, when this camera changes, when you're on the 3rd floor, and just about to, before you hit the 4th floor, you just throw it at the very edge. And if you get it just right, it'll blow up, like, right where the turrets are.
Indeed, very much the same.
Okay, so we got one more.
Quick donation time.
Yep, go for it.
We have Nick RP Green, who donated $14. Finally home and can tune in. Great job this weekend, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for the donation. Keep them coming. Uh-oh. Wait, I'm not that heavy, right?
Well, you gained it a little bit.
I mean, I know Snake's got, like, the thick cheeks, but I feel like it's something more than that. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait! We're how to load in this elevator.
Too late, Snake.
Alright, not to worry. We're just gonna put them all to sleep. Okay, maybe not that guy. Yeah, sometimes that can happen. You know, you try to target lock and flick up and hit the shoulder instead of the head. Yep, just another day for Snake.
He looks so good in that tux.
I know, doesn't he?
Yes.
He looks so good in it, but I say this every time I run as Tux Snake, but you know, Snake in MGS3 wears the tux the best. You know, I gotta admit, you know, I mean, I know Snake looks good in this tux here, but you know, Big Boss wears it best in MGS3. All right, Sniper Wolf 2. Probably the one thing that has in common with the original for speedruns. Everybody hates it.
Yes.
It's where runs can be made or broken. So we're going to be using the Stinger to try to locate her early. Okay, there she is. And then, just like in the first fight, we're going to try to line up as many headshots as we can. And, okay, I'm already off to a bad start. She's hiding behind the tree early. Oh, she's trying to debate me.
We could try to shoot her with the Stingers, but the problem is we're going for big boss rank, so we have to go non-lethal here.
Yeah, and even like the hitbox of the Stinger missiles won't really work as well like in the original, which can actually like deal some sufficient damage while getting her out behind cover. Okay, she's gonna fire right.
Good one.
Oh, good save. Okay, so
Yay.
that was about like an average fight. At least to me, you know, I ideally want to try to get as many hits as headshots as possible with minimal instances of her taking cover, but that's the element of the fight that I probably hate the most is just her spawn placement, where she goes, the fake going behind cover, or worse yet, she'll like go in the middle and then double back when you're not expecting it.
I think I can talk for chat and say you're definitely doing great here.
Yeah. Oh, look, we're going into Disc 2, Kappa. Wait, we're already in Disc 2.
Wow, such loads.
Yeah, I know, right? So for the blast furnace, we're gonna be throwing a chaff to disable these chaff, or disable the chaff turrets.
Turrets, yeah.
Yeah, the gun cam turrets. So the guards are just gonna be running about trying to figure out who it was up there, and then we're just gonna be running right to this door.
It's another blessing of the MGS2 engine. In MGS1 we didn't have this hanging mode, but here we can just fall down.
Yeah, and also you don't have to leave the room and respawn and reload it to get this elevator to show up sooner. They just say, hey, we're just gonna make it show up faster. Thanks, game. And guess what? Yep, another ambush. Okay, so we put all three of them to sleep. And we got our next weapon ready for our rematch with Vulcan Raven. As we again go for a jog while we wait.
Gotta stay fit in this cold.
You know, I gotta say, Snake's definitely getting his cardio in with, you know, all the sets of stairs, the rappelling. He's definitely very fit.
Yeah, he's getting bullied from the elevator, but he doesn't stop him. Good for him.
Yeah, and then with that transition there, the one freight elevator to the other, that camera, which is infamous in the original game, I absolutely hate it. It's, you know, patrol scan is random. It can just shoot you when it feels like it. And in this one, they just give you a little delay before the turret tries to fire at you, so you have plenty of time to avoid it. Which I'm sure is like a breath of relief for those like coming from the original to this.
Especially in extreme difficulty.
Especially on extreme difficulty. Okay, so a big, you know, head scratcher might be, well, you're going up against Raven. He's a pretty big guy. He's tough to deal with in the original game. How are you gonna beat him without killing him? Since again, we are going for big boss strats here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop all of our potassium, which is about 3 to 4. Doesn't quite matter what it is, so we're just gonna use them all up. We're gonna lay down right here. And then we're just gonna start shooting him in the head. Okay, we're gonna keep doing that. Then he's gonna move over one, stop. And then we just keep tapping on his head.
Not bad.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of the only thing that comes closest to, like, GME in this game. You know, what you're doing is you're laying down on the floor a certain way, and for some reason, Vulcan Raven can't target you directly when he first locks on, when you're in that sniping stance. So you're just kind of trading shots with, you know, hitting him in the head. It takes at least 9 shots in the head to beat him. I have done it with less, with a mix of M9 shots, but I advise you not to do that. Only as a last resort if you're, like, near, like, out of ammo. But thankfully, it didn't resort to that.
This room
Okay.
also finally has guards.
Yeah, I mean, they decided to finally put some proper staffing in here, since in the original they only left it up into, like, 1 guard. Entirely 1
Yeah.
guard. So we're in Rex's lair, and what we're going to be doing here is, instead of going up the steps right away, is we're going to be spamming Otacon. Because normally you would hit certain parts of the hangar where you get these forced codecs. Instead, we're going to do them all early here. And this was, I guess, shown to me by Tyler. When I was running this game one day, someone else had figured out, like, hey, you can call Otacon early, and it saves you about, like, a second in-game time from what you would normally get as, like, idle waiting time from when you're waiting for the codec to, you know, show up on screen 3 times. And as you can see, yep, they actually staffed the place. It's not only just 1 room, not 3 or 4 separate loading screens, but they've actually staffed it with 4 guards instead of just 1 patrolling the upper level by himself. So we're just going to be tranking them all with the M9, except for that guy, because I missed. And we're going to be using the grenades for the... possibly what's the scariest part of the run for me, which is the infamous rope grab. Because in the original, you'd either have to farm alerts to find the PAL key in the drainage ditch, pray for God Rat RNG. Instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to race to where the rat is going to be, since it is consistent, pending you survive this fall. Okay, so we're going to go right about here. Oh! And that was a very, very late grab. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm terrified of that grab. Okay, so there's the rat. We blew it up with the grenade. And now we got our PAL key.
And now we have to go all the way back, right?
Yeah, we have to go all the way back up to enter the first key, but the beauty of, again, being on Twin Snakes is we don't have to do any more backtracking, you know, since they added a, I guess, like, secret ledge, which is not really so secret if you just know where to look, where it'll help speed up the process of changing the red and blue PAL keys. Oh yeah, I forgot to switch to these. Okay, so we're just going to take out this 1 camera right here by the door. The second camera in the other side of the control room we're just going to leave alone as we start the PAL key entering process. So we got the first one in, and it would be at this point, you know, be like, oh man, we got to go all the way back to the Freezer Coliseum, or whatever it's called. Instead... not gonna go there. We're just gonna be going all the way to this other side of the lair here.
You gotta think those people that made this port, or a remake even, were also like, man, this sucks. We don't want to do all the way back. Let's do something better.
Yep, so you can just drop right here, shoot the liquid nitrogen pipe, and there you go. Just, you know, just get hit by the pipe when it bursts. And just like that, the PAL key has already changed to blue. And now we just go back. You know, because it's no waiting, you know, 60 to 61 seconds to, you know, for the temperature to change. You don't have to go all the way back to the freezer and the furnace. Because maybe you're right. They just decide, you know what, we don't feel like going all the way back there, so why should we make you do it? Okay, so we just got 1 more key. And as we make our way back to the ledge, this would be another good time for any messages. Okay, just gonna roll over this guard. Drop down this ledge 1 more time. And we're gonna shoot the red pipe. and then we're gonna get this call. So in the original, you do get these force codecs as you progress through the PAL key transitions from, you know, neutral to blue and then blue to red. So doing it this way will not skip those codecs. They'll just make them pop up at 2 different sections of the layer here. We're gonna get the second one with Naomi as we cross this point right around here. And now we just wait again, which again, with these codecs, it's the same way as MGS2 where you just double tap your triangle button. You don't have to like mash through every line of text. Really, like nice quality of life conveniency. I'm just reading the chat, and yes, as long as we don't die, we're still Big Boss eligible. So just fingers crossed from here on out, as I would say. All right, one last key. Job well done, but wait a minute. Wait, why is Miller thanking us?
It's strange.
Wait a minute, those sunglasses, that voice. Oh god, it was Liquid. We got played like a fiddle house, I can't believe it.
Again? God damn it. Nothing changed since 1998.
Yep, nothing changed. So, same thing, we're just gonna call Otacon for help, tell us to get us out of here. Which he does in a very quick fashion.
I was gonna say, he calls really early.
Yeah, I mean, part of the thing you could do is you can just preemptively hold down your codec call buttons, like as it's loading in. But yes, it is really fast. So here's Rex. Okay, we're gonna be using our Stinger missile launcher with the ration again, only as a backup measure if needed. And then just aim for the ray dome. Okay, we're just gonna keep trading hits. Dodge the laser. Oops. I think I unequipped that one a little too early, but that's fine.
Good work. Do we have quick time for a shout out?
Absolutely.
Alright, so we just got a huge raid by Jaguar King with 55 people. Thank you so much, Jack, for tuning in. You're actually going to see also currently a big boss run if everything goes well, so that's an amazing timing from you, buddy. And also Big Boss gifted us up to Nick Uppergreen. Thank you so much for that.
And shoutouts to Jaguar King to Jaguar Kingdom. Thank you for thank you for the raid. Oh yeah, just in case you were wondering, you still can't pull the trigger. Man, isn't that the best scream you ever heard in your life?
Yeah. Except for the original Japanese release, that's also fantastic.
Yeah, so in phase 2, you're just staying put and then just aim at the open head. Since as you're doing this, the missiles just trail behind you. You don't have to worry about getting hit by them. Just, you know, tank the bullet gunfire. It's not too. Oh, don't you tell me I'm wrong. Sorry, I tapped out for a second. Yeah, the gunfire is manageable. Should you run out of HP, you still have the rations. Pending it didn't get used up in the Hind D fight or Raven. So we're fighting up against the man himself, the man who just refuses to die. And I'm going to try to do a setup which is called the lottery roll. And I got it.
Nice.
So what I did is I pinned him into the corner by just, you know, manipulating him with my movement spacing by getting him to walk over and then carefully timing a punch roll at a somewhat specific angle. Which, if done right, you could just trap him in the corner and then just deal a lot of damage at once. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm getting a little... Okay, getting a little hung up on my analog there. There we go.
There we go.
Wow, that is the one thing I didn't expect to work well in this run, actually.
GG, yes, that was very well.
All right, so now we're going through the escape section. And I'm pretty sure Liquid is he's done, you know, it's all behind us, right? You know, we're just gonna ride out to the sunset. Happy times. But it's not gonna be quite that simple, I think. Something tells me.
Hurry.
No, wait, Meryl!
Damn, must
Oh, not to worry, that's built into the run. And with these guys, while Meryl's trying to find a Jeep with keys, we're just gonna stand here. That guy's gonna try to hit me, but he can't.
All right, keys.
Alright, and then once he starts to throw the grenade, that's our cue to run over here.
Snake, it started.
And then just blow up the barrels to open up the door.
Fire that machine gun with the weapon.
Alright, now begins the first of several escape transitions. Alright, so since we are still going for big boss strats, we're going to be using the barrels to our advantage once again. So, just gonna blow up the barrels each time. It'll take the guards out next to it. Because after all, I mean, the barrels were the ones responsible here, not me.
It's a check.
Okay, blew up that set. Then we're gonna blow up this one over here. Alright, so I think that's game over, right? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Liquid's back again. I knew it. I knew it! Man, it's like he didn't go down after Hindy, he didn't go down after Rex, and he didn't go down after kicking him off. And just doesn't know when to quit. Alright, so similar to the original section, you're just trying to, you know, trade hits with Liquid as he's, you know, either doing a pass or, in this case, trying to ram the back of the Jeep. Actually, I was one short there, so now he's gonna transition. And again, you want to wait for him to, like, aim his gun before you try to attack him, otherwise he'll just go through, like, an endless swerve where he has iframes. Okay, then for this side-by-side, I'm gonna aim at his legs. It gives me a better hit chance probability to actually hit him. Because just like in the original, his hitbox is really weird. Okay, and then we're gonna have 2 to 3 more hits here before we get to the final time. Okay. And I'll let you know when final time is once I confirm it with my auto splitter, since again, with the emulator, there is an auto splitter that can run with this game. So shout outs to BMN for making the script for that. So time's gonna come up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time.
GG.
All right, I hate to
Congratulations
ask
to
what
Big
my
Boss.
yeah, I hate to ask what my RTA time was because I already know what my IGT time is thanks to the auto splitter.
Don't worry, it's just 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 9 seconds, so still within estimate. Good job.
And
I think
for
everyone
those,
out there is impressed.
yeah, and for those wondering, it's a 10502, and it is with the big boss rank.
Look at that. And for that, I'll also give the 5 subs just to celebrate that. And Big Boss also standing by his word, giving a sub out for this Big Boss rank. GG.
Hey, way to go, Big Ubasu. So I just want to shout out the MGSR community once again, as well as you know, D-Limes, Apache, Major Zero, all the people behind the scenes organizing this Limeade Marathon for Solid Strife. You know, House, thank you for hosting and, you know, pitching as co-commentator.
Sure.
Thanks for having me. Be sure to follow this channel that you're watching it on. D-Limes is an absolute nut when it comes to running speedrun games like this, MGS1, MGS2. And if you liked what I did throughout this marathon, you can follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/JosephJoestar316. And I guess, yeah, shout outs to Solid Strife. I mean, you know, we're all happy here to, you know, to help contribute to a member in need, and, you know, just keep smashing those donation goals.
Absolutely, and thank you again also, Joseph, for running not just this day, but multiple games this event. A pleasure to have you on here. Thank you so much. And with that, I would say it's time for us to go. It's also the final end for me for hosting. Sparty is going to take over, and I will quickly go over to the hosts and we prepare the next one for you. Have a good night and see you soon.